Good Sunday morning, everybody. This is me drawing every day for a year. This is week number 49. Let's get into it. This first spread is of a chair with a white top hanging off of it and a TV in the background. And as I continue with using a ballpoint pen as my main drawing medium, I'm definitely leaning towards a more finished product with these drawings, or trying to at least. And one way of achieving that is through recognizing values and putting correct values to particular objects. So in this particular setup, I have a black TV in the background, which wasn't on, so that was the darkest element. And then the mid-tone values was the chair, and then the lightest value was this top that was hanging off of it. So my mindset is definitely leaning towards getting a more refined drawing out of my ballpoint pens. I have a lot more work to do with that respect, but I think these sketchbook entries are a good way to figure out how I want to put down my line work to produce a refined pen drawing. This next, wrong way. This next pen drawing is of my Bialetti stovetop coffee maker. I've had this for quite a few years. So the blackened base, it's totally burnt and sooted up, so it's black, and it recedes into its natural red color that I originally bought it in. So again, it's all about values for me in this particular drawing. That is black, so everything in relation to that is lighter. So that's all I needed to complete the values of each of these different sides of this coffee maker. And on a side note, when I drew that hammer, it was actually sitting on a box, but I omitted that box, and I kind of like that sort of hammer floating in space there in the background. This next drawing was done this portion of this spread was done at Tim Hortons. I usually go there for coffee on weeknights, and there was this bulldog of a man sitting right across from me, and I wanted to sketch him, and I did. And I think he knew I was drawing him, but he was totally game and just sort of sat back and scrolled on his phone while I did it. And this particular drawing is of Angel, my coworker, who I've sketched in the past. But in this instance, I was just finishing up my lunch break. She was just starting, and that's all I could get of her. This next self-portrait drawing, usually when you see me draw something like this, it's usually late at night. I didn't have a chance to sketch during the day, and this is my go-to. I draw myself a lot, and it's a good practice in trying to achieve, one, a likeness of me, but two, also different ways of laying down line work. You'll hear me repeatedly saying, put down line work. What I mean by that is, how do I crosshatch, or how do I put down lines, for example, to achieve form, right? So that's what I'm constantly working on when I do pen work. This next drawing, I swore up and down to myself that I would not draw on the bus ever again, but this particular gentleman had a great unique nose, and that's what hooked me into draw him on the bus trip to work. And when I finished the drawing, it had a certain charm to it because of all the squiggly lines. That's what I hated about drawing on the bus, because it was too bumpy and it produced these squiggly lines. But now that I look back on it, it definitely has a bit of charm, and I think I might continue with these bus ride drawings, particularly with fountain pen. This next drawing was done in a food court. This woman was on her phone, and I didn't know how long she'd be on that phone and in the subsequent pose. So what I did was I drew large from small, large form to small detail. And to create this sort of roundness of her back, I sort of en masse drew that shadow to produce a 3D form. But what initially caught my attention about her pose was her distinctly pleated blazer jacket. That's what really drew me in. So all in all, this took about 5-6 minutes to draw, and I think it turned out quite well. This next particular spread will always stand out to me when I look back at this spread in the future, because I didn't want to do it. I came home late at night. This was the initial drawing I did earlier in the day, and I didn't like it. And I came home 11:30, and I thought, oh man, I'm tired, I'm beat, I don't want to draw. But I forced myself to do it because I want to continue the streak to produce substantial drawings every day. And so this is the drawing that I did. I was right about to hop into the shower, but figured let's get in a sketch for that day. And so when I look back at this drawing in the future, I will remember that I had the willpower and the persistence to get a drawing done even though I didn't feel like it. This, another self-portrait, again, here was at the end of the day. I think this looks more like me than the previous sit-down pose that I had shown you a few spreads ago. I like everything about it. I like how quick and energetic the lines are, but I also like how this really extreme foreshortened pose with my feet in the foreground and my body receding back from that really is in scale and in proportion with each other. So I like it for that. And this last spread was of my niece. I haven't drawn her in a while, so I asked if we could have a Zoom session, and she agreed, and this is the result of it. And right before I started this particular drawing, I knew that I wanted sort of like a dichotomy of drawings in drawing style here. Something a bit looser during the live session, and then I asked my niece to send me a selfie and ended up with this drawing. She had this fish-eyed pose, and there in the original reference photo there wasn't that much contrast in her face. So my job as an artist, I guess, is to pick and choose and pump up certain things and recede certain things, and this is the result of it. I really exaggerated the shadow work here and just sort of kept this side of her face paper white to accentuate that contrast, and I think it turned out quite well. So that ends week 49. Thank you folks for joining me on this journey. We're almost there, 2 or 3 more weeks left. If you're sick and tired of me showing pretty much the same theme drawings, why don't you drop a few suggestions and tell me what you want me to draw, and I will hopefully get to them in the last 2-3 weeks of 2023, and probably even create a few come draw with me drawing videos for you to see how I approach your suggestions. So that is it, folks. I hope you had a great week. I hope you will have a great week. Thanks for joining me. Bye for now.